Perfect. So this worksheet, mitosis and meiosis, some of you guys may have started in class, some of you may not. So the very first part is just going to go through and you're going to draw out the phases of mitosis and meiosis. You'll organize your phase in the table. We'll look at it in a second. And in one of these phases, only one of them, this was a big confusion in the other two classes I taught, only one of them, you need to label those 6 things: the homologous chromosomes, centrosomes, microtubulars, centromeres, cell membranes, and nuclear membranes. It does say pick a different color. If you only have one color, totally support it. That's fine. The drawings that I'm going to send you guys that we will look at today will be color coordinated, so you'll be able to kind of see what they're trying to track right there. So there's this table that you guys will work on filling in. If you just want to draw it in your notes, draw it on a piece of paper, whatever you want to do. Some of you heard before, some of you haven't yet, that at the end of class, I will have you hold up your notebook just so I can see that you did do something throughout this class period. So I will have you guys do breakout rooms. I ask that you keep your camera on. You and your partner will be working through drawing that table. You can copy this from your notes. I challenge you to try it by yourself. It's 11:41. At 11:47-ish, I will bring you back. I want you to just work through mitosis. So you and your partner, cameras on, working through mitosis. Your breakout rooms should be open in just 1 second. If you get stuck at all, I'll be hopping through rooms, but there are 13 rooms. So go ahead and use that raise hand function if you have any specific questions, okay? So you're drawing mitosis. Ready, set, go. Okay, looks like you need a breakout room. Sydney, there you go. I think I just put you in one. You should be all set. Of our breakout rooms are closed. So I know that was a little short. We have a lot to get through today. So I will walk through my drawings of mitosis. This also will be sent to you guys tonight. I just can't send it out till tonight because all the LA sessions need to finish. So this is what is in your PowerPoints. If you haven't seen this yet, this is the PowerPoint version. I specifically drew them out as well, which is what we will look at. So for this is your drawing of mitosis, color coordinated, and all set to go. So we will just walk through this before we dive back into meiosis. So the first thing to note is that we are starting with homologous chromosomes. Let me get my little pointer. Let me share my screen. Boom, boom. Sorry about that. There you go. Okay. Can you see my screen now? You all were looking confused. My fault. So this is my version. This is the textbook version. So you're starting with 2 pairs of homologous chromosomes. Your nuclear envelope is still intact. That's the really big thing to note, that often in high school or in the book even, they'll talk about interphase. That's not on this chart, but interphase does exist. There was some confusion about that before. Interphase is when that DNA is kind of all spread out and then is wrapped into those chromosomes. So we have in metaphase, your microtubules are starting to extend. They lock onto the kinetochore and the centromere. Those are 2 important vocab words that you should know. You may want to draw in a zoomed version of your chromosome. So they line up across what is called the metaphasic plate or the metaphase plate. This is just the center of the cell. Think M for middle. Also note that there are some microtubules that extend all the way around the cell that are not hooked to chromosomes. This means that they're used for structural purposes. So your cell is going through a lot of stress right now. It's starting to expand, and then in anaphase, it will start to pull apart. Those microtubules make sure that the cell can do that without damaging other things within the cell. So then we are looking at anaphase. Note in mitosis, you have a homologous chromosome like this, and it's snapped apart, so sister chromatids are separated. Please note also that those microtubules are starting to come apart. Telophase is pretty close to the same thing, but that is where your division starts to happen, where that cinch and that cell finally cinches apart, and into cytokinesis, the actual separation of the two cells. Note that mitosis, you're starting with singular cell and you're ending with two. That is important to keep track of. That is something we'll also talk about with meiosis. And as you can see, we got our nuclear envelope reformed, the kinetochores or the centrioles are back to their spot away from the chromosomes. I understand that was a lot of information in a very short period of time. So does anyone have specific questions about anything that I just covered? And once again, if you don't get this all written down in this moment, I will be slacking out this PowerPoint just because we have a lot to cover today. So this is mitosis. As you guys saw on the chart, there is also meiosis 1 and 2. So what I'm going to have you guys do is we are going to go back into our breakout rooms. I popped through about half of them last time. My goal is to get through the next one. I was answering some questions for some groups. So your job is to get through meiosis 1 and meiosis 2. I'm only going to give you like 5 or 6 minutes to get through that, just because then we are going to go through it again, and you guys should be able to copy that down as well. I really just want to use these breakout rooms to start to get you thinking about meiosis, and then we'll answer some questions on it. So I'm going to reopen all the breakout rooms. You should be set to join, go over meiosis, and then I'll see you again. So recap, our homologous chromosomes, they overlap, they cross over in metaphase, which means that they are split and mixed in our anaphase, telophase. They start to actually cinch apart those cells, and then you get the same thing in cytokinesis, your two cells. So note, we started with one cell, we ended with two. For meiosis 2, there is two cells that are technically going through this. Kind of think about how the cell goes through the Krebs cycle twice. This is the same idea. I'm only showing you one, but there are two cells present. Also is a slight error right here. If everyone wants to make sure you're seeing this, there should only be 2 chromosomes here. I accidentally put 4. I will edit that before I send out the PowerPoint. So there are 2 chromosomes. They've already crossed over in this. So this crossover event that occurred in meiosis 1 has already happened. They're linked, they're together. So then the same thing happens in metaphase. They line up along that metaphasic plate. You can see, as I said, they're crossed, they're mixed. You still have some of those microtubules that are holding down the structure of the cell so that nothing happens yet before the cell is ready. Then we enter anaphase, which again, we have our chromosomes, which are being snapped apart, and only a sister chromatid is going to each side. So we are not talking about whole chromosomes separating. We are pulling apart chromatids this time. And then in pretty normal fashion, our telophase is happening, where that cinch of the cell is happening. All the microtubules have pulled back, and then you are ending with 2 cells, which in total only have 1 chromosome. So mitosis, you start with 1 cell, at the end you get 2. Meiosis 1, start with 1, get 2. Meiosis 2, you start with 2, get 4. That was some quick math. A lot of information yet again. Do we have any questions? You can throw it in the chat, or you can unmute yourself. Questions about the drawings for mitosis and meiosis? Or you can throw up an emoji, because I do love the emojis. Okay. Someone, or give a reaction from the emoji reactions that you have about how you feel about what we just covered. Thumbs up, it makes sense. That surprise face, you're like, Hannah, my head hurts, it's Thanksgiving. Go ahead and throw up a reaction. There's lots of options. Okay, seeing some thumbs up, seeing some sideways thumbs. Cam, I vibe with that. Happens. Okay, seeing quite a few thumbs up, seeing quite a few just blank stares. You know, Thanksgiving's on Wednesday. It happens. Okay, we are going to move on to the next part of the activity. So you guys have made it through the chart. Good job. That's a lot. Next. Oh, there's discussion questions. They did not make the PowerPoint. Let me pull them up quick. So there are discussion questions that we are just going to have you, I'm going to have you guys answer in the chat. I don't want to throw you back into breakout rooms because I know breakout rooms can get very, very long. So in the chat, we're going to answer that first question. In what phases do you see homologous chromosomes separating? So I just sent the question in the chat. This is a discussion question from part 2, part 1, or question 1. In what phases do you see homologous chromosomes? Go ahead and throw what you think in the chat. Okay, I see a lot of anaphases, which is correct, but in which of the processes? Mitosis, meiosis 1, or meiosis 2? So you're on the right track with anaphase. Starting to see a couple variety of answers. I've seen some meiosis 2, a couple meiosis 1s, some individual chats saying mitosis. So once again, the question is, in what phases do you see homologous chromosomes separating? The correct answer, I will throw it in the chat as well. Correct answer, anaphase 1 of meiosis 1. So this is where you see, so this is meiosis 1, so we're working with one cell, meiosis 1, metaphase 1, these paired homolog chromosomes, they align at the plate and then are separated. So this is why it's important to understand the difference between homologous chromosomes, homologs, sister chromatids. All of those vocab words start to become very important. So the next question that I will also have you answer in the chat, it's a similar idea. Pull it up, it's going to be that second question. Let me type it out. What phases do you see sister chromatids separating? Make sure you include what phase you think it is and what process, mitosis 1, meiosis 1, or meiosis 2. So what phases do you see sister chromatids separating? I understand I accidentally wrote sister twice. My apologies, everyone. Okay, seeing a couple answers. And in this one, I will say there are 2 correct answers. Okay, I'm going to wait for a couple more answers and then I will gladly give out the correct answers. Okay, so in what phases do you see sister chromatids speaking? Anaphase of mitosis is a good option, and anaphase 2 of meiosis 2. So once again, that's the correct answer to question 2. The sister chromatids are the individual sides of a chromosome. So sister chromatids make up our chromosome. The next 2 questions, there are quite a few options. We are not going to spend the time looking at those. There is no right answer to question 3 or 4. That is just us as LAs and professors asking you to look at mitosis versus meiosis 1 and 2. I'm going to tell you right now, there is going to be at least 4 or 5 questions on your next exam about the differences between mitosis and meiosis. It comes up every year. I recommend making like a Venn diagram of differences and similarities. You can find a bunch of them on Google Images too. You don't even want to think about it. But I do want to warn you, that is something that is coming up. So I'm going to share my screen again, and we are going to talk about the last activity. So someone verify you can see my screen. Perfect. Thanks, guys. So this is part 3. Same dancers, different dances. That is just, I'm going to say it right now, Harrison, he's kind of cheesy. I did not come up with that title, so just embrace it. So this activity includes 2 parts. So images A through J, and then cards 1 through 14. So this is all about being able to take what you learned and kind of using it and formatting it in different ways. So if you guys were in class, we would be cutting these out, little crafts. Since we are not in class, I'm going to give you guys the option. Would you like to do this in breakout rooms or as a full group? If you want to do it in breakout rooms, go ahead and throw that in the chat. If you want to do full group, give me a thumbs up emoji reaction, please. Breakout rooms or thumbs up. We will go with the majority vote, and it looks like overall majority is going to vote class together. Okay, so I'm okay with that option just because I try to switch it up, as I know that breakout rooms are not always the most exciting thing, and I'm sure all you guys do all day is breakout rooms. So that being said, I'll have you guys react with emojis to different statements as we work through these. So let me pull up the worksheet so I can zoom in. So what we are going to do then is go through all of these images together and vote as a class if we think they belong to mitosis or meiosis, and then we'll put them all together at the end. So we are going to start with image A. So our reactions for this class are going to be, let me pull up the emoji options. You're going to give me a thumbs up if you think it belongs in mitosis, and a clapping emoji if you think it's meiosis, okay? So for image 1, it's pointing to homologous chromosomes pairing. Give me a thumbs up if you think mitosis, clapped hands emoji if you think meiosis. Go ahead, I'll wait for some more reactions. We'll wait till almost everyone has shared. Okay, so I'm seeing we're actually pretty split, it looks like. So this one actually goes with meiosis. So those homologous chromosome pairings goes with meiosis. So we're going to move on to part B. So part B, it looks like we have 2 different chromosomes lined up on the metaphasic plate. Go ahead, give me a thumbs up for mitosis, clapped hand emojis for meiosis. Also, if you're responding in the chat, you're welcome to just say mitosis or meiosis, or you can say clap or thumbs up. I appreciate all of that interaction. Thank you. Okay, so it looks like, once again, we're pretty split. I'm seeing quite a few thumbs up. So B is actually a thumbs up. That belongs in mitosis. So once we go through all these images, I just want to say that we will be putting them in order together. So don't be worrying about that. That's also part of the activity. Okay, so we will be moving on to C. Looks like we have 4 cells, individual chromosome. Mitosis or meiosis. Think about where we talked about, where do you end up with 4 cells? Where is the only place that you can end up with 4 cells? In mitosis or meiosis? Okay. I like what I'm seeing for this one. Yes, I'm seeing almost all claps for meiosis. Good job, gang. So meiosis is the only time, meiosis 2 specifically, that you will end up with 4 cells. So we are going to move on to part D. You have 2 diploid cells. Do we think D belongs in mitosis or meiosis? Seeing some thumbs up already. Nice. Haven't seen any claps yet. Maybe we'll see some claps. Seeing lots of thumbs. Perfect. So D is definitely your mitosis. One of the big words to pay attention there is diploid. We'll be talking about diploid versus haploid, but diploid and haploid are two major hints that will tell you if you are in mitosis or meiosis. So part E and F, if you have noticed, are the exact same. So we're going to skip that. That's just because when you order them in order, you need both of them, one for mitosis and one for meiosis. So we are going to look at part G. You have two cells splitting to create four. So mitosis, thumbs up, meiosis, hand clap. Think about, where do you end up with four cells? If you haven't caught on, there's a theme here. We're working through that theme right now. Yes, I'm loving all the claps I'm seeing. Correct. Good job, group. So that is meiosis. So we're going to continue to fly. I promise it will make more sense once we put them in order on the next slide. Don't worry, okay? So we are going to H. You have two chromosomes being split into chromatids. Are we thinking mitosis? Give me a thumbs up, or meiosis? This is a good time to reference your drawings. That's why we start with the drawing, so that you can reference them throughout the rest of the activity. I'm going to wait till I've seen the majority of people throw up an emoji. Give me a thumbs up for mitosis. Give me a clapping hand emoji for meiosis. Also, I'm excited for people who watch this recording, and if their sound doesn't work for a second, they're just going to see emojis. But we are on H. The correct answer is thumbs up for mitosis. We will go over Y in a minute. We're just going to go through I and J first. So we are now looking at I. You have two cells, singular chromosome apiece. Are we thinking that's mitosis, thumbs up, or meiosis, hand clapping emoji? Or option C, chat. We are on I. Let me know what you guys think. Oh, we're pretty split across the board. Okay, seeing some hand claps, seeing some thumbs up. Our chat group hasn't really hit this question yet. What do you think, chat group? Seeing a couple answers come in, okay. So I actually belongs with meiosis. We are going to do our final one, J. Do you guys think this is mitosis or meiosis? You have a homologous chromosome departing to each side of the cell in anaphase. Nice. Seeing lots of hand claps. That's what I like to see. So this is meiosis. So now we will talk through why each goes where. Can someone verify you can see my PowerPoint again? Thanks, guys. Okay. So I understand the pictures are just a little fuzzy. The zooming in was tough. So for mitosis, you're going to make sure you want to write down these letters. F, B, H, D. These correspond to those pictures we just talked about in chronological order. I highly, highly recommend going back and drawing out these pictures in your notes. That may not be something that we have time for today, but mitosis is F, B, H, and D. So what we're seeing is this diploid cell with two chromosomes. Going into part B, we're getting into that metaphase stage, lining up on the metaphasic plate in the middle of the cell. Going into H, we're seeing an anaphase, telophase kind of mix. Everything has retracted. They're starting to pull apart. Then we see that definite split in part D with cytokinesis. So just a reminder that mitosis is F, B, H, and D. So let's look at meiosis. So meiosis, got a couple more steps. Who's surprised? Not us. So meiosis is E, A, J, I, G, and C. So we're going to talk through this. Same beginning, you have your diploid cell, you have two chromosomes. Then in part A, we have that homologous pairing. Once again, very important part, a distinction between meiosis and meiosis is that homolog pairing. We go into J, where they're pulled apart. We're on an anaphase, telophase kind of thing. They're starting to really pull and move. We split in I right into our cytokinesis. So now you have two independent cells, each with one chromosome left. We are now about to enter meiosis 2. Meiosis 2 in this one is summarized just in one picture, G. So theoretically, we've already gone through mitosis and anaphase. This is starting to show a telophase for us, G. which then leads us into C, which means we have 4 cells. Once again, overload of information. Give me a thumbs up. How are we doing? We're doing okay. Barely hanging on. Makes absolutely no sense, Hannah. Where are we at? Okay, seeing a lot of sides. Okay. So we're going to do one more activity part. This I will split us into breakout rooms just to go over some of it, and then we'll bring you all back. The next activity is a little bit easier because you don't have to put in order. All you're going to do for this next activity is, yes, so someone commented, I just want to make sure. E and F are the same, so you could technically interchange them. You just need both to kick off mitosis and meiosis. So Harrison and I put it on there twice. Super good question. So with this last activity, you have that, it's the block of numbers, right? Everyone knows what I'm talking about? Block of numbers. There's a bunch of them with different sentences. Your guys' job is to go through and label them if you think it's mitosis or meiosis. You don't have to differentiate between mitosis or meiosis 1 and 2. But I'm going to send you into your breakout rooms and give you about 5-6 minutes, probably closer to 5, and go through. Then we will come back together, regroup, go through those, and then we will be done today with enough time that if you want to go, you can go, or you can stick around and ask questions. So I'm going to send you into the breakout rooms, go over where you think each number belongs. There you go. Come back, everyone. So we will be going through, looks like we have a couple still coming, this chart together. We will be highlighting it on my laptop based on what you guys share. So let me move you all around. Can you verify that you see the chart on my screen? Perfect. Also, I'm looking up because you guys are now on a different monitor. So what I'm going to have you guys do is I can either randomly call on you guys, or I'm hoping you guys can just unmute as we go, and we'll have people answer what they think. So for number 1, involves a reduction in the number of chromosomes. Do you guys think that's mitosis or meiosis? One person can go ahead and unmute and let me know what they think.
Is that meiosis?
So it is meiosis, correct. So I'm going to take yellow and highlight this square for you. So this is where we talked about how you go from, at the end, each one only has a single chromosome. That is what we're kind of talking about here. So for number 2, part of sexual reproduction, do we think that's mitosis or meiosis? Someone, oh, go ahead. So sexual reproduction is actually meiosis. Mitosis is asexual reproduction. So good guesses. That is something you want to review because there will be at least 1 or 2 questions on your test about which one's the sexual versus the asexual production. 3, crossing over occurs. What do you guys think?
Meiosis. Yeah.
Yes, meiosis is correct for the 3rd one. That's where we talked about the genetic diversity, which I believe is also on this chart. This is really important. This is how mutations happen. Mutations can sometimes have a negative context, but mutations are often good. That's how we're not all the same person. That's what makes you you, makes me me. 4, daughter cells are diploid. What do we think?
Mitosis?
Correct. We have hit our first mitosis answer. So this has to do with the number of chromosomes present, which is why it's always important to track your chromosomes and the number of cells produced. So moving on to 5. This one you can give me an emoji reaction. We're going to go back to our thumbs up for mitosis, hand clap for meiosis. Which one involves interphase, prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase, and cytokinesis? Thumbs up or hand clap? Seeing some thumbs up. Yes. So this one is meiosis, or is mitosis, excuse me, I misspoke there, because it only has one set of each. We are going to go ahead right now and label number 12 as well. Since it has those ones and those twos, you can automatically assume that that is part of meiosis. So we are going to go back to number 6. Daughter cells are 2N. Mitosis or meiosis, someone go ahead and unmute.
Mitosis.
Correct. Mitosis is correct. This also has to do with that diploid, that chromosome count. Make sure you're paying attention to that. Number 7, produces gametes. What do we think?
Meiosis.
Correct. Meiosis. I heard 2 answers come in there. This has to do with that sexual reproduction statement for part of part 2. So I'm going to fill in the next one because I've talked about it quite a bit. It's something I'm big on. Number 8 is meiosis because of that genetic diversity that happens during that crossover event. So now we're on to number 9. Chromosome number of each daughter cell is the same as the parent. This is a little tricky. May have to think about this one for a little bit. But what do we think? Is number 9 mitosis or meiosis?
Mitosis.
Correct. This is because we start and end with the same amount of chromosomes. Let me color that in quick. Then we are going to head right into number 10. Daughter cells are haploid. Give me the thumbs up if you think mitosis, hand clap for meiosis. Seeing a couple reactions. I'll wait for everyone to hit an emoji for me. Thumbs up, mitosis, hand clap for meiosis. Okay, starting to see some chat reactions. Also, I see you, chat group, don't worry. This is meiosis. This is that haploid, whereas mitosis is diploid. Okay, number 11, part of asexual reproduction. This can also be one I answer because number 2 we already referenced as sexual, so that makes mitosis the asexual. It's the opposite of meiosis. Got 2 left. We're almost there, guys. You're doing great. Number 13, tetrads are formed. This is not necessarily a vocab word we've talked about today, so I'm curious to hear what you guys think. Someone want to answer?
Meiosis.
Meiosis.
Meiosis is correct. Both of you that answered, great job. And our very last one today, daughter cells are N. What do we think? Mitosis or meiosis?
Mitosis.
Meiosis.
It is meiosis. In mitosis, they are 2N. In meiosis, they are singular N. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. Let me move you guys back down so I'm not looking up the whole time. And then I will have each of you quickly hold up any sort of notes that you've taken today to the camera. Go ahead and hold it up. This is how we track our attendance. I don't care necessarily what it is, just that you have something. One second, I'm gonna quick take a screenshot just so I can also do your attendance because you guys are in different sections. Perfect, you can put your notes down. Thank you guys, really appreciate that. Just so I can keep track of who's here, who's not. I know I'm not your normal LA, but I wanna thank you all for paying attention, for interacting. You guys did great. All the breakout rooms that I made it to, I know I didn't make it to all of them. You guys were doing things, all that kind of stuff. Any final questions? Also, Charlie, you're good. Don't worry about it. I know some of you guys have messaged me saying notes on your phones. You're all good. All of you guys were engaged. Any final questions? that was a lot of information. This YouTube video with the PowerPoint will be coming at you. My goal is to get it out to you guys tonight after practice. So if you don't have questions, you can go ahead and peace out. I hope you guys have a safe and happy Thanksgiving and get to spend time with your family. See ya. Bye, everyone. Okay, so for those of you guys watching the Zoom, because you weren't in class, I hope you're safe and having a happy Thanksgiving. I'm just going to click through the PowerPoint quick because I'm not going to send out the actual PowerPoint, just this. So you can pause it at any point to, look at a slide. So slide 1, 2, we just worked through, did some breakout room action, filled out this chart. This is how you see it in your book. This is my drawings of mitosis, meiosis, and meiosis 2. I want to note here there is an error. There should only be 2 chromosomes present there. Otherwise, pause it if you want to copy this down. Pause it here if you need to see the answers to the questions. I want to note that 3 and 4, that any rationale works. We just want to get you guys thinking. Part 3, we did kind of as a group in breakout rooms 2. This is the correct order for mitosis. Pause here. I recommend redrawing. Meiosis, pause here if you need to look at this. And then we talked through the numbers. This is all the ones that go with mitosis. This is all the ones that go with meiosis. So sad you guys couldn't be in class, but happy that you're watching the Zoom. Send me your activities when you're done with them. Bye, everyone.